From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Sacked AFL star Taryn Thomas is facing new legal trouble tonight, with police charging him for allegedly harassing a former partner. Cameron Bowe is tracking developments. Now, police made their move just before midday.
Police officers arrived here at Taryn Thomas's home at Ormond in Melbourne southeast at around 11:15 this morning. He was arrested and charged with using a telecommunications device to harass and breaching court orders. 7 News approached Thomas's housemate but was told that he was unavailable for comment. Last year, Taryn Thomas avoided a criminal conviction for using a carriage service to harass his ex-partner. In February, he was sacked by North Melbourne and suspended for 18 games by the AFL for multiple threats made to a woman. And in just the past 90 minutes, the AFL has issued a firm response to the laying of charges today, saying it's the AFL's intent that Mr Thomas will not be approved to play at any level of Australian football, pending the hearing and the determination of the charges that have now been brought against him and subject to the outcome of those proceedings. 7 News has been told that up until today, several AFL clubs were considering listing Taryn Thomas. He was given police bail and will front court in November.
A review panel established to investigate the Launceston General Hospital's failure to report deaths to the coroner is set to examine dozens of additional cases. Victoria Eastoe explains.
The independent panel was set up in the wake of allegations against former LGH boss Dr Peter Renshaw. A parliamentary inquiry in February hearing he'd falsified death certificates to avoid coronial investigations. The panel's work resulted in 6 deaths being reported to the coroner just last week. Now, the Health Department has revealed an additional 63 matters will be examined by the panel, who will recommend whether they warrant further coronial investigation. That decision is due to be made by June 14. The Health Department says all deaths were originally assessed by the same LGH staff member who's no longer employed by the department. This latest development follows revelations the former boss of the LGH has had his medical registration suspended, meaning for now Dr Renshaw is unable to practice anywhere in Australia.
The State Treasurer is gearing up to battle stormy economic conditions by extending payroll tax and helping more young Tasmanians into work. But as Parliament resumed, the government's battle to meet a key deadline was under the spotlight.
Payroll tax rebates for apprentices, trainees and young employees in all sectors to be extended for 1 more year, an $1,800 per person incentive.
Very important that we have the next generation moving into the industry and that we can continue to pass on the knowledge and the skills.
That'll provide, I think, a sense of comfort to businesses that yes, they can continue to make employment decisions with confidence.
But inside Parliament House, the government's support for the Commission of Inquiry recommendations is being questioned.
You committed to implementing 48 recommendations in this time frame by the 1st of July. Premier, how many of these recommendations will be completed by that date?
A handful of recommendations will require a little extra time to ensure we are doing things in the best way to get the best outcomes.
Set to give a further update Thursday, while his ministers couldn't answer questions about action taken on police referrals, or if key players in unlawful isolation practices at Ashley Youth Detention Centre are still employed there.
It is sort of gestures to the fact that despite the words about taking this response seriously, somehow it's not flowing through to all the ministers.
Moves to shake up Tasmanian racing are underway, with a bill tabled in Parliament today. The legislation would disband the Under Fire Office of Racing Integrity while creating a new watchdog inside Tas Racing. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Julian Assange has won the right to appeal against his extradition to the United States. London's High Court granted the WikiLeaks founder leave to build his case. Tasmanian Independent Andrew Wilkie says it's time for the federal government to step up.
You've been doing the right thing lately. You did back my motion in February calling for this matter to be dropped. but I call out to you, redouble your efforts. I do feel that we're approaching the end game.
Assange faces 18 criminal charges in the US surrounding the leaking of military secrets. A date for the appeal is yet to be set. An overnight house fire in Howrah has been labelled accidental. Parts of the Ballard Street property went up in flames after an electrical failure just before 6:30 last night. All residents got out before emergency crews arrived. Investigators were on scene today to assess the damage. Meanwhile, two blazes have kept fire authorities in Launceston busy. Crews attending a house fire on Georgetown Road at Newnham before 12:30, while a second garage fire on the same street was put out just a few hours later. The fire has now been controlled and contained with no injuries reported. Key details about the future of Mac Point have come to light in the stadium funding deal with the federal government. The release of the $240 million agreement shows the state is required to tick off on major upgrades to Wharf Number 6, where the Noyina docks, by June next year. They're expected to cost Tasports $240 million. A refreshed precinct plan for the site is also expected by next month. Further charges have been laid over an armed robbery at Mole Creek. A 36-year-old man was arrested in Bishopsburn last Monday following a several-hour manhunt where residents were told to stay inside. Following further investigations, his charges have been upgraded to include aggravated armed robbery. A joint housing project to help dozens of vulnerable women escaping domestic violence in Hobart is waiting on state government approvals. Independent Christy Johnston using Parliament question time to call for assurances.
Meet with St Vincent de Paul's and Hobart City Mission on site and to give them a guarantee that funding of $1.2 million will be in the 24-25 budget. It makes a difference and it could save a life.
Of course, that submission will be considered through the budget process.
The 43-bed accommodation would act as a temporary space, while Vinnie's appeals Hobart City Council's decision against a similar project on Argyle Street. A Tasmanian mother, the first woman to win the Bare Knuckle Boxing World Championship, was also caught in a secret fight. In an award-winning documentary screening at the Star Theatre tonight, Rowdy Beck Rawlings shares her story as a survivor of domestic violence.
Rowdy Beck Rawlings! A UFC fighter turned bare-knuckle world champion, Launceston's Rowdy Beck Rawlings was seemingly on top of the world. A very different story though behind closed doors at home, subjected to violence at the hands of her then husband.
If it can happen to someone that fights people in cages, it can happen to anyone, and that's a really important message that I feel like we need to talk about.
Her story of success in the octagon and the joy of motherhood set against the struggle to escape a violent relationship is told in a documentary, Fight to Live.
I knew what I had to do, but I couldn't.
After winning Best Inspirational Film at Cannes, it's screening tonight in Beck's hometown at the Star Theatre.
It's really hard to kind of go back to those moments and relive those moments and tell those moments in the documentary, but I kept telling myself it's not for me, it's for the people I can help.
She's hoping the story of her journey from victim to conqueror can be a catalyst, inspiring other women battling through an unthinkable situation to find a way to escape.
You're not damaged goods or, used goods, which my ex-husband used to tell me, and I obviously believed it to stay and put up with it. So, yeah, I'm a completely different woman now.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Online food service DoorDash has expanded its alcohol delivery service to Tasmania, meaning customers can order alcoholic beverages from 18 BWS stores across the state through its app. But it's raising concerns about safety and regulations.
We know in a physical environment that can be managed quite well, and many places do manage it well. But in an online environment, I'm concerned about how that will be managed.
DoorDash says significant ID verification will be taken. There will be several prompts reminding deliverers to check the customer is of a legal drinking age. With just 4 more shows left before the curtain comes down on this year's Uni Review in Hobart, past performers have stolen the spotlight in the Rockcliffe Horror Show. The old and new faces helping transform today's rehearsal into a time warp.
Well, I've been in 7 fond memories of this theatre and the Uni Review. A great place to learn everything from costumes to choreography.
A lot of review newbies, which has meant that they've brought a lot of new stuff to the show, which after 77 years, you've got to keep it fresh.
The show heads to Launceston's Princess Theatre next week. But this week, love is in the air. The Princess Theatre, as Launceston grammar students bring their toe-tapping rendition of Strictly Ballroom to the stage. The 65-strong cast from years 7 to 12 have been preparing since auditioning.
I'm so
late
excited.
last year.
I think it's such a fun show. Everyone's just been working so hard on it, and I think it's like very nostalgic. We've got a lot of fun 80s scenes. The costumes are insane.
I've always liked music, and I've always sung quite a lot. And I've been in the choirs at school and stuff. I've never danced before, but here I am.
The show opens tomorrow night and runs until Saturday. Real estate agents have been put through their paces, with auctioneers battling it out at the Tasmanian Novice Auction. The competition aims to help rising talent elevate their skills.
Budding auctioneers putting their best foot forward, trying to seal the deal at the Tasmanian Novice Auction competition.
I am shaking like a leaf.
The crash course designed to help real estate agents fine-tune their skills.
Auctioneers we have today are starting their auctioneer journey.
Also helping to pave their way to a successful career.
Competing against each other, which describe what the real value of a property is, what people can't see. They'll be going through the legalities, the terms and conditions.
Judged from the moment they arrive to the moment they leave. Confidence and entertainment are both key to unlocking a successful auction, while attempting to showcase a property's value.
I feel auction is definitely a place to show what the true value is of a property.
Storytelling also a major selling point.
And I think they need to take us on a journey when they're describing the property.
The story, sell the emotion behind it.
Successful trainees will have the chance to showcase their skills on the big stage later this year.
Has the opportunity to compete for Harcourts Tasmania in the novice auctioneer competition on a national basis.
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
The Hockey Roos are at full strength ahead of the Olympics. Tasmanian Madison Brooks included in the squad named for Australia's penultimate test at the FIH Pro League in Belgium. It's a great opportunity for the Aussies to tangle with some of the sides that they'll eventually meet in Paris. A Launceston basketballer is about to make his return in the NBL 1 a year after suffering a heart attack on the court. Sire Deans has re-evaluated life after the near-death experience, but still has passion for the game as he prepares to run out for the Thunder this weekend. After more than 2 years away, Sire Deans is back with the Thunder.
Oh, and triple answered!
The now 20-year-old holds the honour of being the Jack Jumpers' first signing, joining as an 18-year-old development player before shipping off to the US in 2022 to play college basketball for Jacksonville.
Great for the first year just to go over there and experience, playing and being one of the young guys a part of, our program, and we had some really good guards who are a bit older than me, so I was pretty excited for my second season.
But that's where his career almost ended, going into cardiac arrest on the court last year.
Very scary for myself and my family when I didn't really know what the issue was, and it took quite a while to figure it out.
Now clear of complications, the Riverside boy only returned home a fortnight ago.
Sort of, working through the process of having heart surgery, which I'm, thankful now that I was over there because I got treatment from the best of the best.
Deans is making his unlikely return for the Northwest Thunder this weekend, having only just gotten back to training in the last 3 months.
Not doing anything for 12, 14 months definitely takes a toll on your body. The first few games I'll probably ease into it a little bit and then, really hit the ground running for the back end of the season.
Despite cutting his college dream short, he soaked up as much as he could while in the system.
I definitely learnt so much, basketball-wise and just life in general. So, I'm looking forward to bringing that back.
He's a really nice guy, Kim, and good on him for not letting a little thing like a heart attack get in the way of his basketball dream.
Yeah, that's true. Great player, great person. Thanks, Nick.
Good evening. 12 the maximum today for Hobart. Launceston reached 15 after a cold start. Devonport 14 and Burnie a high of 13 after starting off at -2. But no one came close to Liawini, registering -7 overnight ahead of Ouse and Cressy, where it dropped to -4. Maximum temperatures a couple below average. Smithton our high today with 16, 15 along the east coast and Bass Strait Islands. Lowhead 14, Strawn 12, Liawini a top of 7. Low Rocky Point found 2 millimetres of rain today as low cloud moved over central and southern parts of the state. Patchy low cloud is over Victoria, parts of South Australia and the eastern seaboard. Higher cloud over Western Australia. Tomorrow the large high will be centralised over the south of the mainland as a cold front pushes our way from the southwest. So we'll kick off with west-southwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots before a west-northwesterly change tomorrow afternoon. They'll reach 30 knots over southern waters. So a strong wind morning there from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Hobart tomorrow, a high of 16 degrees, a cloudy day, 15 the top for Geeveston, a possible shower, 40% chance, 15 for Bothwell and cloudy. Launceston, a high of 17 and partly cloudy, same for Devonport, partly cloudy for Cressy, 4 tomorrow morning, 16 the high. 17 for Burnie and partly cloudy, a shower for Strawn, 14 the top and 15 for Curry, maybe a shower there. And 17 for St Helens and Swansea and Orford, all fine. On Thursday, showers mainly over the west and south, but extending across the state at times. Morning frost and fog on Friday, followed by a fine day, apart from an early shower clearing the east coast. And on Saturday, mostly fine and partly cloudy day. Sunny weather in Perth tomorrow, fine and partly cloudy for Adelaide and Melbourne, sunny and 20 degrees in Sydney, fine as well in Brisbane, 32 and awesome in Darwin. Little showery over Hobart, it's 10 degrees, clear in Launceston 9 and currently 11 degrees in Devonport. Kim, busy night for me ahead. I've just had a text that I've got a few tolls to pay. A parcel hasn't turned up and I've got to press a button for that. And my Telstra points are expiring. Big night ahead.
Oh my goodness me, it is a big night. That is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.